Hey, everybody, and thanks for joining us. It's not a Sunday football review today. It's a Friday football review because half of the football week is already over. And for the sake of Doug being the only one that loses the parlay, we wanted to get our parlay in before the Chiefs game left us today. So
we even have another special parlay in case anyone wants to join.
That is true. We do have one for the game, like the game alone today. But before we get into, our parlay picks and Doug giving us the stinker, having to do an ice, let's talk about, let's review a little bit of the football that had come our way. First, we are going to be talking about the Bears game on Thanksgiving. That's crazy. But before we get into the bigger dialogue, reviewing last week, this was from the halftime show at the Colts game last week.
Blue today from the Indianapolis Ballet's production of the Nutcracker. Please welcome Mother Ginger.
It's my mom?
Now, please welcome Carol the
Well,
Colts fan and Larry the Lions fan to participate.
I got to say, the thing that I find just so goofy. Okay, wait. Yeah, first,
Carol, which
here's the
prize would you
game.
like? Whatever's in this box. Welcome Carol the Colts fan and Larry the Lions fan to participate in a holiday version of this or that. Carol, which prize would you like? Whatever's in this box, or a surprise from Mother Ginger.
What is she wearing?
It's not a sheet.
TV.
Congratulations, you won a new TV.
Oh, I mean, just looking at
Take the TV, honey. Take the TV.
Congratulations, Larry.
What?
Yeah.
This is going to be 7 holiday pies. Keep them coming.
I just want to say,
I would be
how
so
occult have we gotten that at a Colts game, we've got Mother Ginger, a guy in a giant mother's dress with 7 little girls running out and pieing a guy.
Wait. He chose that over the TV?
He didn't get a choice. She got the choice.
It was rigged.
Yeah, it was rigged. This is part of the show. But what is this? What have we come to?
Dude, could you imagine if he didn't get the choice? He was like, TV. I would love a new TV. And they were like, or 7 pies to the face if he just kicked one of those kids coming right at him. Just Spartan kick the hell out of him.
No, I think that's why they chose that guy, because he has a boot on his leg. He couldn't hit the kids.
He's stuck there.
They shackled him to the stadium floor.
He's perfect. He can't go anywhere. I just thought this was so bizarre. And such a reflection of.
You know what? They have a dome.
Yeah.
I'm anti-dome now. Screw the dome.
I don't want a dome in Cleveland anymore if this is what it takes. All right, now let's get into the bigger dialogue of the week. The Bears game.
Yeah.
This was crazy.
One touchdown.
Timeout.
All right, 30 seconds left.
Timeout. Took a sack. Timeout.
Still the clock's rolling.
Timeout.
Clock is still rolling.
Timeout. Put those painted fingernails into a T. Call the timeout.
So much time. Taking so much time here.
What is he? And see, when he was doing that right
20
there over his
seconds
head, I wasn't sure if it was him calling a play, which clearly that's what he ended up doing, or he was saying, I can't hear. Like the microphone's out. I didn't know. It could have been anything. But apparently it was a play that didn't even happen.
And look at this. They got one playoff with 32 seconds left.
With a timeout.
With a timeout.
Yeah, timeout they never use. Come on, people.
That was the most. This was the first time in my whole life. I actually woke up yesterday and I thought, I'm like, you know what? Have the Browns ever played on Thanksgiving? I'm sure they have.
Long time ago,
right? That play right there made me so thankful that the Browns never play on Thanksgiving, because I was like, I'm so glad my team did not do that, because that was so our MO years ago. That would have been our MO.
Still,
still our MO. I was so thankful. I felt bad for dude. Chicago yesterday all had the same reaction at the same time the rest of the country did. Dumbass.
and the craziest part is the self-reflection after. Like, who do you blame? Do you blame the coach? Doug's out here blaming Caleb Williams. I mean,
I blame them both. It's situational football. These people have played a lot of football. You didn't know there's 30 seconds. Like the instant you took the sack, timeout. Like timeout. The clock's running. Timeout. Like that's like standard. Like no one should guess what you're about to do. They were running the numbers still. What's the numbers game we could do here? Let's run a play with 2 seconds left. Hail Mary it. Why not?
I'm going to be real with you. I don't think there was any numbers run here. I think there were directions from above that were, we've got an investment in the Lions winning. You are going to lose. Like that's how it felt. If you want to know why, watch this post-game press conference with Caleb Williams. Like this, I'll let it speak for itself.
So, hi. How's everybody doing? Sweet.
What was the decision between you and Matt of the communication to not take a timeout after you had about 32 seconds left in the game?
You know, I'm on the field. I got a call, and I know I took a timeout earlier in that was it same drive? Yeah, same drive. I knew I took a timeout earlier, and so, you know, I couldn't take timeouts, but in that situation, we had a call. I got the call in, and you know, trying to get.
What does that mean?
What does he mean he can't take time out?
No. What does he mean by we got a call? I got the call in. You know, like
it was a play. He got the play.
He's getting exactly. So he's being given directions. Like,
but what I didn't get what he said there. Like I couldn't take the timeout. And see, this is again
right.
I think Matt Eberflus is not a good coach. Like I think like he's like a situationally unaware coach. You're a player on the field. Again, you've played a lot of football in your life. Instant that sack was taken, stand up, timeout.
Right.
Because I don't want the play to come in and I'm doing this. And everyone's now running back to the line. And now we're having to now run another play, knowing, well, one, you didn't get the play off quick enough. And when he stood there for like 5 seconds, like stopping his leg, it's like, no. Immediately, instant lined up, ball snapped. Like you don't even need to wait.
But apply that same logic to yourself then. The understanding that this is a player that has a deep understanding of situational football for 25 plus years. So the fact that he is calling a play when any instinct would tell you not to, in the press, we're not even halfway through his response yet. And what is your question? How is he saying that he couldn't make the call? He could make the call. Yeah. Anybody knows he can make the call. He knows he can make the call. So kind of like last time when we were talking about Amari Cooper and his first pass and the rookie that was like, hey, did you have to remind Amari? He's like, he had the perfect response where he's like, he's a professional. I don't have to tell a professional what to do. We just got each other's back. Like a class act press conference response. This is, I think, a guy scrambling because he's like, I can't say what I want to say. There's obviously a whole element to this that he's refraining from. And I'm only presenting that stage because when you listen to the rest of his response, it's so clear that like he's fighting saying what his instinctive response is. Everything is like, well, I couldn't do it or I should have. And to me, it was told through his helmet, play it, take a play. Don't call a timeout. Don't call a timeout. Don't call a timeout. That's all he's hearing. And then it's like, call 34. And they call a play.
Well, here's the thing, too. It's like, I'd like to watch the original clip again. I would like to see at what time left that they are set up to run the play and how long then it still takes them to run the play.
So it goes, what's up, Doug?
I was just saying, like, they were set up. Like, he's there doing this, trying to get them finalized, lined up. And then once they actually snapped the play, I think there was, like, 10 seconds left.
10 seconds.
Yeah, but it's
so
like...
Here, let's... Your inquiry. You're at 32 seconds when it goes down about.
You can't see the clock.
32 seconds. It just came in.
But I mean, no, 32 seconds after the sack. So that's right 25. When that prior play ends, there's 32 seconds left.
22 now when they're trying to get lined up here.
I'm still listening. I'm just watching. See.
Right.
It's taking them.
15,
they're set. They're lined up.
13,
hike the ball.
12.
Hike the
11,
ball.
10,
hike the ball.
9.
Hike the ball.
8.
Hike the ball.
Right. And so
hike
again,
the ball.
How are you telling
hike the ball?
This,
like it took him 10 seconds to snap the ball after being lined up.
You're going to tell me this isn't
and
Las Vegas?
Caleb.
This
that
is
right
this
there
is Las Vegas intervention.
See,
this is the clearest.
I don't know if it's in Las Vegas intervention.
Dude,
I think it's a rookie quarterback.
30 seconds? Dude,
I agree. But
30
that ball,
seconds is 10 minutes of football.
they were lined up, and he took 10 seconds then to snap the ball. That's on Caleb. That right there is
so
on Caleb.
it is on Caleb. So let's go back to his
Guys
response.
back. So focused on making.
Let's go back a little bit.
Yeah, same drive. I knew I took a timeout earlier, and so, I couldn't take timeouts, but in that situation, we had a call. I got the call in, and trying to get the guys back. So focused on making sure everybody gets back, gets lined up. I know we don't have much time left, and so trying to get everybody back. We don't really have. I don't have a microphone to speak to coach or anything like that. So there was.
I just love it. I had to make sure everyone was lined up. You did for 10 seconds.
Yeah.
They were lined up
Longer,
for
dude.
10 seconds, dude. What do you mean? Good. John, good. Like, what are we doing here? They were all lined up, idiot. Like, no,
And that's what I mean.
I get the Vegas intervention. We always think Vegas is intervention. This is on him. This is on him. The coach should have called the timeout right away. They didn't. You were lined up for 10 seconds and didn't snap the ball. This is a kid who's not situationally aware. And I've always kind of had this thought of Caleb Williams. I don't think he's a kid who likes a lot of count. He's a kid who needs some maturity. So I'm like, you're the guy in the field. Your coach, everyone knows he's a joke. It's been talked about for weeks. He should lose his job. He will lose his job by the end of the year or after the year is done. They will have a new coach next year.
You don't think after this game, Will?
It could be after this game. Like, it very well could be. But if they truly want to tank, they're like, nah, keep him in there.
Yeah.
They're like, it doesn't matter. You're not making a push. You were lined up for 10 seconds and didn't snap the ball. Like,
That's
the
crazy.
whole time. Like, the coach is probably over there, like, he was probably in disbelief. Like, snap the ball.
Yeah,
And
where's
snap the
the
ball.
sideline view of the coach during all this? I'd love to see
After
that.
the
Well,
game,
here.
yeah.
Look at this. We could go back to when they lose it.
He looks like
Just
a deer in
watch.
headlight.
Yeah, watch, dude.
He looks like I got to get back on LinkedIn. Like, that's his face right there. It's so like,
Oh.
even Detroit is in shock. They're like, I cannot believe that they did that. So that's why I think, like, no, I don't think, if anything, Vegas wouldn't have mind. Because, like, at that point, once you take the sack, you're playing for the field goal. So it's
Yeah.
like, all right, at worst, they miss. At best, they miss. We win. Or we go into overtime. Didn't even get to that point. Dude, Jared Goff's face was, he was just like, I don't,
So confused.
okay. Like, you're just like, give me the turkey leg now. Like, game's over. Like, it's so bizarre. So, again, I do think Vegas has an intervention when the flag is thrown. That was all the way down to just management of a football team. And the management was not there. The refs, the zebras throwing a flag to help out the Chiefs, someone put a call in. We could see that. That right there is just, no, I think you saw two dumb bitches on the field going like exactly to one another. And then after the game, they're like, who do we blame? Caleb knows, well, you're not getting rid of me. You're getting rid of EB flu. And that's fine. That's fine. We all know the deal. I just love knowing that someplace in this country, a city, unanimously just went, before they even sat down at the dinner table, they all sat down at the dinner table like Jared Goff. What happened? Why did this happen to us again?
Yeah, and all the people in Chicago were watching that game because that was right before dinner time for everyone. So they're watching that, and
Yes.
it probably just ruined their Thanksgiving.
Oh, yes. You saw a lot of pissed off uncles
Ooh.
using a lot of anti-Semitic slurs about a certain football team that day.
I don't know about that.
I do.
I don't.
I
I
do.
do not. But going back.
or anything like that. So there wasn't like any huge communication. That situation,
Clearly.
you get a call with that time. You gotta try and get the guys back, get everybody lined up so you go run a play. And excuse me.
You're excused.
And we got lined up, got the play, and then I made an adjustment because I saw the clock running down, knowing that if we complete a ball in inbounds or anything like that, we won't have time to kick a field goal or anything like that. So.
This is the numbers crunching going on in those 13 seconds on the line.
I made
I
adjustments.
mean, he was lined up.
And knew Rome was either going to be one-on-one or he was going to, beat the safety and be one-on-one there. And, tried to give him a shot. And we got the shot and missed.
This is a kid who still thinks he's at USC. He's a kid who still thinks he's at USC and he's playing against
college ball.
Exactly.
Against
And it's
pros.
like, you're not. These are the professionals.
Exactly.
At that moment, call the timeout right away, or you get lined up and snap the ball instead of standing there for 10 seconds right away. You try to get any high percentage play from a 5 to a 15-yard target, get yourself in field goal range, then call the timeout because you still had the timeout, run out the kicking unit, get the kick.
Dude,
Didn't do that.
speaking of still having the timeout, like that's why this
If
interview
they didn't have
is-
the timeout, people wouldn't be making as big of a deal as this because it's like you're scrambling. At that point, you're just scrambling.
exactly.
Yep.
You had the timeout.
Yep.
Well, listen to him talk about the timeout.
Yeah.
The snap came at 6. Was the 7 seconds there, was that you changing the play?
Yeah, I ended up changing the play because, with the play we had, 13 seconds, any play you have with 13 seconds with no time, or we had a timeout, but with, that situation.
That situation, I just love, 13 seconds without a timeout. Well, we had a timeout, but that situation,
That's the thing. It comes back. It's what was the play before? It was a sack. Immediately timeout. The clock's running.
Right.
And your guys are all
that's
downfield.
the instinct.
Like that's instinctive. That should have been by you. That should have been by the lineman. That should have been by the coach. It should have been by everybody.
And for some reason, it didn't. And there's a lot of money invested in them not doing that. That's all I'm saying. Is it all was too perfect and nonsensical.
By a nonsensical team.
Football's instinct is always going to look that way.
Would that
When-
if what you just
when
saw the
it's so
Browns did,
nonsensical.
if the Browns did that, would you have been shocked or would you have been like Vegas?
Yeah, I would have said Vegas.
I would've been like,
it's
no, that's
always
so
Vegas.
Cleveland.
They're always against the Browns. We know that.
Yeah,
it's
that's what I
always
see.
against the
Doug
Browns.
knows. Doug knows. That's how we live in our land of delusion. It's the only thing that makes me cheer for them the next
Super
week.
Browns, baby. Those refs are screwing it. You're
Well-
right. If it wasn't for the refs, I think we'd have 6 Super Bowls. I think we'd be up there.
Here's what I gotta say. I think personally, you're being way too tough on a guy, and you just need to cut a man a break.
Stop you. Stop it.
When the clock is running out and you have a timeout still, but you're Caleb Williams and you're still just a chill guy
Oh, hey.
who wants to let the Lions win.
Happy Thanksgiving, Detroit.
I'm just a chill guy. But before we wrap up the game, there is one highlight I want to just, exemplify for the Thanksgiving game. Listen to him.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Get your little ass up. Pop.
Oh, I missed that.
Dude, you can actually hear him say it too. Pop.
As funny as too is they said like after the game, like Jameson Williams like apologized to his teammates for because that's like a taunting penalty. Like they threw a flag for that. But I give kudos to him. Like after I don't blame him for doing that. That's hysterical. Like that's so funny. But then to be
Wait,
like,
who got the penalty?
Jameson Williams. You can't throw the ball at a fucking. You can't do that.
Even if they tell you to get your little ass up.
You want to know what you do? You get up. You get back in the huddle. That's what you're supposed to do.
That's right, though, Will.
Sportsmanship.
Him throwing the ball, though, that is funny. That is
Oh, it's
just
perfect.
on national television spotlight. Doink.
It's all right. So let's take a little bit of a review going into the rest of the week here. So we had 3 games so far: the Bears and the Lions, the Giants and the Cowboys. I am shocked the Giants let the Cowboys do as well as they did.
I actually saw a stat. I think that was the first game in 24, 26 games the Cowboys had a running back rush for over 100 yards.
Really?
Yeah. Rico Dowdy, he ran for I think 100 and 120, had 2 touchdowns, I think. I know he had 1. That was, they said that was the first game in close to 2 years now. They've had a guy rush for over 100 yards. I mean, that's a stinker game. You had Drew Lock suit up for the Giants against Cooper Rush of the Cowboys. They definitely thought that was going to be the quarterback matchup months ago when they were like, well, it's going to be the Cowboys again. Obviously, Cowboys Detroit, Thanksgiving Day. At least one of those teams are good. But, hey, you know what? Kudos to Jerry Jones. He gets to live another week.
There you go. Dolphins and the Packers. The Dolphins were just laying an egg,
The
but
Dolphins
came
look
alive
cold.
at the end there.
They look cold.
They do.
They look cold.
But the Packers, boy, did they look strong.
They look smooth.
I was thinking about you a lot during that game because if you go back and watch the first half of our breakdowns, you had zero confidence and respect for the Packers. And they have shown to be a powerhouse. And they're not a number one team, but they're a top dog.
When Love went down, I wasn't sure about them, but Love has played well. Like they run a smooth operation over there from offense to defense. That is a well-run organization. You know, that is the team I've seen the least amount of quarterbacks in my lifetime.
And what is that? And that is, if you know what, I appreciate you making that point because that I think is the strongest reflection of a strong administration and franchise.
I could probably name quarterbacks before Brett Favre that have played for the Packers, but like since Brett Favre, you went to Rodgers, now Jordan Love will probably be there 10 to 12 years.
Yep.
You know, it just seems like it. And it's like then he'll be like 8 to 10 years into his career there, and they'll draft a quarterback behind him, and he'll hate him because that's how it works in Green Bay. And then that guy will be there for another 10 to 12 years. And then they'll draft another guy and they'll hate him for a few years. Like it's a beautiful thing there. It's a beautiful thing there. Because we as Browns fans, we hate them all. We hate them all or we love them all.
That's
then we get rid of them for someone we hate.
Raiders and the Chiefs. The Chiefs definitely are going to roll the Raiders. And
Raiders are collapsing.
This is a good game to get put some money down on the Chiefs racking it up because
I'm calling
you're going to see high numbers across the board.
I'm calling it right now. I think the Raiders, the Bears, and there's one other team. I couldn't think of them right off the top. They're another stinky team. Definitely firing their coaches by the end of the year. Oh, the Patriots. I think Jared Mayo.
Interesting.
I think coach for the Raiders also, and the Eberflus for the Bears. Those are going to be 3 teams with new coaches next year.
I can see that.
At least Raiders and Bears.
You don't think the Browns are going to get a new coach?
No, they already committed to Stefanski.
Yeah.
Oh, we're riding this train, baby. We're riding.
All right, so 1:00 games on Sunday. Chargers and the Falcons. We're going to get to our parlay picks, but Will's got some confidence on the Chargers.
I do. I think Jim Harbaugh is going to be the coach of the year. I think
really?
Yeah, I do. I think
that would make me so mad his first year back and he gets coach of the year.
I think he's going to win coach of the year. Falcons 6-5. I think they got a pretty rough part of their schedule coming up, and they're still in a battle for first with Tampa. And Tampa, funny enough, their gauntlet is now over, and they have a lot of cupcake games coming up.
Oh yeah, Mike Evans is back.
I saw a stat too. They're like the Falcons. If the Falcons lose, their playoff percentage is like right now it's 60 something percent. If they lose, it drops down to like 30. But the only thing they have right now is they have the division, and that's huge for them. And Tampa Bay is like right now it's like at a 25%, but they're playing Carolina. If they win, it jumps up to like 60. And it's like they're right in it. I think the Chargers are going to be a wild card team. I think they got a solid defense. Herbert's played well. Harbaugh is doing well there. He's doing well.
Steelers and Bengals. I think this is going to be a great game. I think the Steelers are the better team, but
I think Steelers are going to lose. I think
I hope so.
Again.
I hope so.
I could see it happening.
I think Cincinnati is now in. We're just here to ruin your season or make it more difficult for you.
Especially because it's going to be a chilly game in Cincinnati.
Well, so they don't got a dome there, do they? They don't have any dome.
Nope. So you're going to have the elements at play, which have ask Perkins and everyone else. It's stuff for the squealers over there. So I think the bungholes might actually come out ahead. I think Burrow just keeps squeaking it out just barely. They keeps losing.
Do you
barely,
think that's his name, or did you just forget, or is that like a joke? Was that a joke? that took me a second.
All right, going to the Texans game and the Jaguars.
I don't even think Trevor Lawrence is starting, but I know he didn't cut his hair, so Houston.
It's definitely Houston. Houston's going to crush the Jags. Cardinals and the Vikings. I think the Cardinals will give them a run for it, but the Vikings are definitely going to win. Should.
I'm going to go with Vikings, but I'd like the Cardinals to put up a fight. 6-5. They're such an odd 6-5 team.
Well, I think they've had kind of a run of it like the Bengals. Their record's better than the Bengals, but they are the ones that they're losing. They're just barely losing. They're not really getting crushed.
If their offense is on, they pop off.
Yes.
And if it's not, they do not move the ball well at all.
You know, it does kind of comes down to James Conner. I mean, that guy is either tanking it and moving it for him, or
they have not found a way to get Marvin Harrison like on a stretch of like great games in a row. Like Marvin Harrison still has not figured it out there, like with their scheme.
Colts, Pats.
I don't know. Honestly, I could see the Pats winning. I don't have a lot of confidence in Anthony Richardson. I think he's a really talented kid. I think it's my take that the NFL is bad at developing quarterbacks. I think that's really what it is. I think he's a great athlete, but there's something very hit or miss with him there. And the Patriots, even though I think they might move on from their coach, I think Drake May, he's doing all right. He's doing all right. I think they're playing well in spite of him. Like for 3-9, he doesn't look like a kid looks like he's on a 3-9 team.
Deep down, I think the Patriots want to lose. So
probably I don't blame him. Like you're at that point in the season now when a lot of these bad teams, it's like if the Browns were to lose on Monday night, like I wouldn't be like, oh, the agony. I'd be like, well, draft pick,
you know,
like.
All right, let's check out the Jets and the Seahawks. I think the Seahawks are definitely the better team, but the Jets have a chance at really. I mean, it's going to be cold. You're going to be home field advantage. I think they've got something to prove, and they're losing close.
Well, the Jets have LeBron James at quarterback. I mean, Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. So the conversation already around is, well, is he going to stay or is he going to go? I'm sure they're loving that in New York at 3-8. So just for that, I hope they lose. I really do. The more and more years Aaron Rodgers is in the NFL, I have an anti-Aaron Rodgers agenda. Like like something about his attitude. It's like, dude, you got to go.
I could feel that, but you also have to admit it's not like he doesn't belong.
No,
like there was a point where Cam Newton was hanging on by a thread and it was like, dude, you don't belong anymore. Mm-hmm. Like you're dried up. Right. Aaron Rodgers is like a weathering starting quarterback, but he's still a starting franchise quarterback.
He still is physical and has the ability to compete.
I mean, this is like, to me, your point aligns itself with Baker's wife in Cleveland. It's like, if you weren't just so fucking annoying outside of the game, every bit of it, I could totally live with you, but you are making this more miserable than it needs to be.
I see. I'm convinced that turned into a Baker Mayfield's wife versus Parma girl wife thing, and that you're going to lose that battle 10 times out of 10 in Cleveland.
Sure.
All I'm saying
I don't know what that means.
All I'm saying is doesn't seem to be any issue with them down in Tampa.
Well, exactly.
Are we the drama?
Did I say Cleveland?
Are we the drama?
I think I said Cleveland.
But are we the drama?
No, I think I said Cleveland. So the point to be drawn is people being annoying as shit outside of the game makes it unpalatable no matter what the productivity is on the field, because you cannot deny Aaron Rodgers is a franchise starting quarterback at how many years in the league? What has it been? 15? Like, how long has he been in the NFL?
I don't know, but all I know is he has a worse win-loss record than Zach Wilson did at New York.
Sure.
And
are we going to sit here and pretend he's got all the pieces around him?
He literally got Devontae Adams, his best friend, mid-season. And they've won like one game since then. So,
right.
Yeah, I would make the argument.
Okay. I don't think he has a strong franchise around him. 19 years, you're looking at almost 20 years in the league, like, and you're a starting quarterback still. That's pretty darn impressive. But you and I can both agree that I wouldn't want him on my team. Everything about him seems toxic.
That's what I mean.
And unproductive. Yes, that's the point I was drawing.
Yeah, but he's not a wife. He's an actual starting franchise quarterback.
Exactly. It's almost like the wife being disruptive on the field is even worse, some would think.
So wait, I'm confused then. Are you in defense of him on the Jets, or are you?
No, I'm just saying I am in agree. You get distracted by defending Baker. I'm taking the point that Jets, I would totally side with them going, no matter how good he can be, I wouldn't want him on my team. I was literally backing your point. You got distracted by Baker.
I thought you were in defense of him.
No, I was totally agreeing with you, but Baker tends to really strike a chord.
Yeah, you can't mention
if you can't
Baker
tell.
With Will.
Looking at the Commanders and the Titans, I do not think the Commanders are going to lose this. It's at home, and the Titans, but I got to admit, the Titans have the right pieces. They just bottom out almost every game.
Week in, week out, I never know who the Titans quarterback is anymore.
That's what I mean.
I think it's Will Levis. I think it's back to Will Levis.
Yeah,
Almost seems like the Browns when they go through so many quarterbacks in one season, right?
I don't even know their coach anymore.
It's just so
I know
funny.
It's not Vrabel. I can't name their coach.
You'll have a game where they lose and Calvin Ridley just pops off. And you're like, 2 years ago, I thought Calvin Ridley needed to leave the league. It was like, dude, you're reaching the end. You're not putting up the numbers you used to. And this year, he has been popping off on a team that can't get 50%.
Wasn't Calvin Ridley banned for betting? Sports betting?
He was
Yeah,
last
that's what
year.
I thought.
Let's see, what a king. Yeah,
He had a couple ices, Doug.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going with Washington. They've hit a bit of their hot streak's over. This could be a good game to kind of get them back on track.
I agree. I would like to see it. I mean, they need it. Here's a big one. The Bucks are going to crush the Panthers. This is probably one that you should put money on.
I don't know. I'm going with Panthers because apparently I got to be like fuck Baker now. So we're going with Panthers. Actually, no.
Good. I like Will ruining his record for the sake of hubris. I'm going to stick with the Buccaneers for the sake of logic, and they're definitely going to crush the Panthers.
If the Panthers do next week, I'm going to go in there and be like, Baker Mayfield, not a franchise guy. Got to get him out of the league.
It's
He's gotta
recorded,
go.
Will. You're on record now saying that. So
That's right.
I'm on
That's
record.
right.
I'm on record. Baker hater.
No, you had a perfect breakdown when we talked about the Falcons. There's a lot running on it for the Buccaneers, and I think they're going to deliver.
For Carolina, they went back to Bryce Young, right? Yeah. So they've gone back to Bryce Young. If you're Carolina, you want to lose. You want the draft pick. Funny enough, actually, the Panthers coach is Baker's former offensive coordinator from Tampa Bay last year.
Yes.
So,
yes, dude.
You know, but I think like that should be a game Tampa rolls.
Oh yeah. Rams and Saints. Wow, this one's a gross game.
I'm going with the Rams.
I would
honestly, I feel like they're better than a 5-6 team.
I do too.
I do. I think they're better than a 5-6 team. I think they like
play a lot of good
Cincinnati,
teams.
like you just had like a couple tough losses this year.
Yes.
Kind of the season's kind of gotten away from you.
Whereas I think the flip end, the Saints had a couple good lucky wins at the beginning, and they just
Derek Carr was an MVP candidate.
Yeah, he was on
3 weeks
fire.
into the year, and then it gone downhill. Like it just went so
just
far down.
evaporated.
Funny enough, though, I think they lost. I think they started off 2-0 and then went to 2-7. So they've won 2 in a row.
It's true.
So,
it's true.
You know, Taysom Hill, maybe he'll go off for like 300 yards again, like he did against us.
Woo. Hey, Doug, no Derrick Henry this week? Looking at the Eagles and the Ravens, we got the Birds.
Derrick Henry's going to go off for 2 touchdowns this week.
Yeah.
He made up for one last week and then got another one this week. I don't know. This is a tough game. Earlier in the year, they were saying Sirianni's going to get fired, but now they're 9-2. And boy, those conversations got really quiet really quick. I'm going with the Eagles just because Sirianni, Mount Union alum. I want to see them do well.
I like that.
And I thought you said I couldn't take Derrick Henry after a loss. Like,
You're
Yeah,
not.
no, you can't.
So
That's why you couldn't.
You're not.
That's why we made the joke.
otherwise I would have.
Yeah, that's true.
He had his miss, and now he's going to go back. You know,
If you're not like Doug and you're not allowed to bet on it, go out there and do it because he's probably going to hit.
That's a tough 4:00 game though in Baltimore.
that's going to be
it is.
a great game.
That's a tough game.
It'll be another cold one.
But I mean, shit, Philly's not that far from Baltimore, so
Oh no,
They
you know
should
what I
get
mean?
some Fans, yeah.
it's not like they're going West Coast to East Coast cold weather. It's like 4-hour drive. That's a tough game. That's gonna be a fun game to
that'll
watch.
be probably one of my favorites of the day. Looking at the Bills and the 49ers, this is the Bills game to win.
This is the Bills game that they're going to win because
Yes.
there's going to be so much snow in Buffalo
Oh yeah,
that they're just gonna. I don't think
Yes.
San Francisco's ready for that.
And Purdy is still questionable going into
yeah.
this.
Doug
game.
and his Purdy.
he's
I haven't
gonna
been
play.
fancy. That's how I know.
He'll play.
He's gonna
Like,
Oh, he's gonna
you know.
play. Yeah.
But like Will was hyping it up leaning into the game. There's all these snow warnings for.
Dude, there was snow footage from them. They're supposed to have snow for like 3-4 days straight. It's not like small flurries. It's like no. It's going to start and then Monday it'll stop.
See, that's what made our Snow Bowl last week so perfect. It literally wasn't snowing until game time, downpoured and just dumped, and then by midnight stopped.
Funny enough, my cousin at Thanksgiving yesterday, he brought it up. Like, talked about the snow game. My one cousin brought it up. He's like, man, that was awesome. He's like, yeah, if you're watching on TV, and it's just like, yeah, dude, that's
yeah, watch it on
okay.
TV.
You
would've been
proved their
fun.
point. Thank
Yeah,
you.
Thank you. It was great watching you, Doug, be cold.
Oh, it wasn't cold. No, it's just the
No,
couldn't
it was,
see
it was
the game
sunshine
from
and
the upper
daisies.
level.
yeah.
I just couldn't see anything once it started snowing.
It wasn't cold. It was kind of cold. But it was,
Doug out there with his Margaritaville Hawaiian shirt on because it was just so gorgeous.
Oh,
out.
it was beautiful out there.
All right, evening going into the Monday Night Football.
Yeah, woo!
You know what? Keep the magic going. If the Browns win their two last primetime games, I won't care if they lose the rest of their games. Go into Mile High Stadium and get this win.
It would be cool to get this win, but we've already won our Super Bowl. As a team that was just supposed
get a
to
number one
lay an
draft
egg.
pick again.
Yeah, right? You get a number one draft pick. Let's beat the Steelers, beat the Ravens where it matters, and ride off into the sunset. That's how I'm looking at it, because truthfully, the Broncos, we should beat them. That's how we should play them. Every time we should have won. It was close. We should have won. And we're going to lose it. Right
Their
at the end.
division right now is kind of interesting because you got the Chiefs obviously up ahead, but you got the Chargers and the Broncos now with 7 wins each, kind of fighting for the wild card spot. One of those teams isn't going to get it, right? Like one of them is not going to get it. And Sean Payton, well, no, he couldn't. I guess he could win Coach of the Year. I always just assume that award's going to whoever is a new coach and does well. Outside of Stefanski last year, because Joe Flacco, Cleveland Brown legend, decided to give him another award, even though Mike Tomlin and Bill Belichick probably have never won that award. But Stefanski's a great coach. You know, he's one of the best. I don't know. I do like Bo Nix in Denver. I think they have something there.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Like funny enough,
we
Shane Daniels was so ahead in the Rookie of the Year race. Now they both those teams have the same records. Whichever team ends up with the better record is going to win it now. And I called them both. Like I was like, I think Bo Nix is my dark horse for Rookie of the Year. I had Shane Daniels as a front runner. I'm like, I think he's going to win it. But I was like, Bo Nix, like again, he's a kid who graduated college at like 24.
Yeah,
like played a lot of
goal,
football, had success wherever he played in college. You know, I think this is a kid who's going to do well in the NFL, and he's a coachable kid with a coach who's played and won and had a lot of success at the NFL. I think that's a good matchup for him, and he seems to have a better personality to roll with Sean Payton as opposed to Russell Wilson.
Yes, totally.
You know, he needed a young, moldable mind. Just mold that mind into the dog on a leash I want,
and it worked. No, so I think we got a good week of football coming up, and we had some interesting games this past week. But let's wrap the show up with everybody's favorite, and that's our parlay picks of the week. So last week, you know, you should always be taking at least my pick, because I ain't out here. I've had the least amount of
You've
losses.
lost twice, I think, Alex, and I've only lost twice.
Once. So go ahead and chug your second one, dope.
Oh, you want to do it first?
Nope.
Jesus, man.
So just so we could really highlight, Doug's really put it down.
Doug's
Dougie.
like, I don't even want a countdown. I just want this to end.
He's putting it back. So Will and I hit. Doug went for the easy one. I gotta tell you, going for an anytime touchdown's risky, man. That it's a toughie. Doug paid his dues.
For what?
Way to go, Doug.
5 weeks in a row, he got it. So I mean, it's always exciting when that one hits, like in the first quarter, though.
Yeah,
and you're like, it's done,
and then you're good.
Like mine, like mine last week. I had like
it hits in the first quarter.
I was like over 18.5 receiving yards, and like going into like the fourth quarter, he had like -8. I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah, I was watching that. I
and
was
then
like,
I backdoored it in there. That was good. That was a good one.
All right, so we got our picks this week, so you could join us. Get it in before, because at least mine, our picks are involving the Chiefs game this week. So get in there. We got the Chargers -1. Will is confident that the Chargers are bringing home a victory. And I'm going with Patrick Mahomes, 250 passing. And in the tight match in Cincy, Doug's going with Joe Burrow, 250 passing yards. So this has got a pretty solid payout. So, guys, you should join us, because our whole goal is to make you money. That's what we're here for. No, but guys, I hope we gave you a little bit of fun dialogue and some insight as you tinker with your fantasy league and get prepared going into next week. But enjoy this weekend's list of football games and family time. But otherwise, guys, we will be here on Sunday next week. We go live every week. And if you're looking for one central place where you can find all the different shows and content, you can find it at our website at www.rethinktankpodcast.com. But otherwise, guys, we'll catch you on the